Hi, and welcome to the Town Bag Video Sew Along. In this series of instructional videos, I'll be walking you step by step through the process of sewing up your own town bag. I'm so excited to have you all here. I'm going to give you all a bit of a rundown on who I am and how this series will work. If you've been following Grainline for a while, you probably already know that I'm Jen, the owner and founder of the Grainline Studio line of sewing patterns. Prior to starting my company, I obtained a degree in pattern making and worked as a pattern maker in Chicago. After sensing a hole in the garment pattern market, in 2011 I launched my first sewing pattern, which grew into a full-time job and the company I have today. I have a passion for sewing and education, which combined with my formal training and work, have enabled our patterns to reach a wide audience and gain loyal customers. Now for how this sew-along will work. All of the videos are free and will live permanently on our YouTube channel. This means you can watch them and re-watch them whenever it's convenient for you. I'll be sewing the entire bag through with you over the course of 7 videos in this series, so you'll be able to see exactly how I handle each step of the process. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment below the video and I'll do my best to answer it. So, with all of that out of the way, let's talk about the town bag. As a lot of you know, the town bag was designed by Fringe Supply Co. and is the larger sibling to the field bag. While the town was designed with knitters and crocheters in mind, I also use it to haul around hand sewing, other various small projects, items I need to bring to work, and even as a lunch bag. Now let's talk about the design. The town bag is quite large on the inside with its roomy main compartment. You can easily fit a field bag or a small stow bag inside. I personally put my knitting project in a field bag, then pop that into the town along with my iPad, which I use to keep track of my knitting patterns. I add my water bottle and whatever else I want to tote around that day. The town has 2 sets of interior pockets, which are designed for neatly storing your tools, patterns, and miscellaneous items. Here the pocket is divided with spaces for needles, pens, or pencils, and a mid-sized pocket here for tools. On the other side, there's a large single pocket, which fits a folded 8x10 sheet of paper or a notebook. The town has the addition of 2 exterior pockets, which are perfect for items you need to reach easily. Like the field bag, the town closes with 2 cotton draw cords, but rather than the angled wrist strap of the field bag, the town has 2 cotton webbed carrying handles. Now that we've talked about the details of the bag, let's talk about what you're going to need to make it. I've linked each of these items in the video description below. In order to create the town bag, the first thing you're going to need is the pattern. This is true whether you're making it from one of our kits or with your own fabric. The pattern is available in both printed and PDF formats in our shop. You can find a link to purchase it if you haven't already in the description below this video. We'll discuss working with both versions of the pattern in our next lesson. In order for the town bag to stand up on its own, the way the original bags did, we recommend using cotton canvas with a weight of between 8 to 10 ounces. These town bags were made from one of our town bag kits available in our shop. This kit's 10-ounce, 100% cotton duck canvas is the same fabric that was used for the production of the pre-made town bags. It features a water-repellent finish. It is a great choice if you're just starting out or feeling nervous about selecting the proper fabric for your bag. If you're interested in making your town bag out of another type of fabric, such as a printed canvas, just know that it will be a little less structured than the original bag. The canvas fabric that most big fabric companies print on is about 6 ounces. But if this is your first time working with a thicker fabric, or you're worried about the sewing machine you have going through the heavier canvas, this is a great choice. I'll be using this printed 6-ounce cotton canvas from Ruby Star Society, so you all can easily see the right and wrong side of the fabric while I sew. To make the handles of the town bag, you're going to need 1.5 yards, 1.4 meters, of 1.25 inch, 3.27 millimeter, wide cotton webbing. The webbing in our kits is the same high-quality, durable webbing used on the original town bag. So if you don't feel like sourcing this on your own, our kits are a great option. As I mentioned previously, the top of the town bag closes with 2 lengths of braided cotton cording that's cinched to keep your projects from falling out. It can be difficult to source this sturdy of a braid in small enough quantities through regular home sewing channels, so we're excited to offer it to you via our fabric and notions kits. You'll need 2.5 yards, 2.3 meters, of 5 32nd inch circumference, 100% cotton braided cording to close your bags. Of course, there's a little leeway since it's going through a larger channel, but that is what we use. For our town bags, we used 100% polyester, all-purpose thread, in a color that matches the fabric. We tested a heavier thread and found that it was difficult for all of our machines to create a stitch that's even on the front and back. We recommend that you use a denim machine needle, we used size 100 or 16, to construct your town bag. This needle is heavy duty enough to sew through the thickest parts of the bag with ease. In the original town bag, the straps here are secured both by stitching and rivets, but when making your own, the rivets are optional. If you don't feel comfortable setting rivets, you can easily sew an X through the rectangle to attach the handles, and that will give you the added security needed. If you are up for setting rivets, we recommend using 6mm double cap rivets with a 6.4mm post. You will need 8 of those, plus any for testing out your technique. We have sets of 10 rivets available in our shop, since often you'll end up with 50 to 1,000 rivets ordering on your own. To cut the hole for the rivets to go through, you'll need a 3 32nd inch round punch. To set the rivets, you'll need a 6mm rivet setter with base. You'll also need a mallet of some sort to set your rivets. You can use a rubber mallet, a wooden mallet, or even a hammer for this. Pretty much any pins you have laying around are going to work just fine as long as they're an appropriate size for your fabric, so don't worry too much about this. We do recommend using glass head pins if you're going to be ironing with pins in. That way they don't melt. But otherwise, whatever you have on hand that goes through your fabric is going to be fine. I love my 1/4 inch foot, which Bernina calls the patchwork foot, because of the accuracy it provides, but I recommend using whatever you're used to for the bulk of this project. There are a few seams where I find my edge stitching foot helpful. An edge stitch foot has a guide down the center of the foot that aligns with the edge of your fabric and helps you stitch a consistent distance from your edge. Just a note that, as the name implies, these feet only work over an edge, so keep that in mind while sewing. I'm not much of a rotary person, but these are the scissors I find most useful for almost every project I make. My Ginger bend handle shears. I use these to cut out my fabric, snip, clip, and more. I use embroidery scissors to grade my seam allowances. You can alternately use duckbill scissors, but I find them a bit large and awkward for my small hands. Thread snips live next to each of my machines at all times. I could not sew without them. If you're most comfortable with a rotary cutter, you'll need one of those and a fresh blade to cut through the fabric since it's quite thick. Having an 18-inch gridded ruler handy is often helpful when laying out your pattern pieces and making sure that the pockets are square. You may also want a seam gauge for pressing under hems. You'll need a marking tool of some kind to trace out your pattern onto fabric. To trace the outside of the bag, you can use anything that doesn't bleed. My favorite marking tool is actually a number 2 pencil. Since you're cutting off the traced line when you cut, it doesn't matter if it comes out or not. To mark the interior pocket placements and stitching lines, you will want to use something that is not permanent. I like to use a bone chalk pencil. It has a fine lead that comes in multiple colors and is washable. You can also use something like the Clover Choco liner, but just keep in mind that the colored chalk on those is not washable. You will need an iron and an ironing board. Any iron and ironing board you have will be just great. You simply need something to press on and with. Since you all ask every time, I'll be using my Laura Star Smart Eye ironing system, and yes, the iron is as lightweight as it looks. This last item is optional, but I find it incredibly useful when pressing the sides of the bag. This is a tailor's point press and is great for getting into areas that are too small to go around your ironing board, like shirt collars, cuffs, and the sides of the town and field bags. This one is beautifully handmade in the USA, and I highly recommend this particular press because of its high quality. Okay, so that is it for day 1 of the town sew-along. I hope you found that information useful and you're just as excited as I am to sew up your own town. If you have questions, let me know in the comments below. Our next lesson will focus on assembling and working with your pattern. I know we have a lot of newer sewers following along, so I wanted to make sure we cover this. You can subscribe to our channel via the link below to make sure you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.